Okay, and welcome back, students who are taking Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications. We're working on the Chapter 16 Summary Practice Test, and we're still on problem number 1. And it is, we're working on now C, okay, which is the gross profit from sales. Yeah, I know that this here is, quite long and tedious, and I had said that right up front in the beginning of this chapter. That this here is a very dense chapter. There's a lot to be taking in here, and because it's new, it can be quite frustrating, trying to soak it all up. And hopefully these videos are giving you, after you've read the textbook, it's giving you some additional insight in order to have it stick in your mind, have you be able to retain it. Okay, so C, gross profit from sales. Okay. Now, when we were talking about the net sales in the first video there, well, actually, I'm sorry, in the second video for the cost of goods sold, I had talked about sales less your cost of goods sold gives you your gross profit, and from your gross profit you take out additional expenses, okay, and that gives you your net, that gives you your profit or loss, net income or net loss, okay. So see here, we're talking about the gross profit from sales, right? Well, that's right there, all right. And remember, this is the structure on the income statement, okay? This is the way the income statement is structured. So what we need to know here is our sales. Then we have to know what our cost of goods sold was and our gross profit in order to be able to obtain our gross profit. But now I want you to think about something here. I'm going to do it. This here formula is, this here math was relatively easy. Okay, if I know my sales less my cost of goods sold, I'm able to pick out my gross profit. So my sales here was 170,000, and from B we calculated that my cost of goods sold was 21,000, which means our gross profit is 140,000. Okay, so that is how much the gross profit from sales is. And if all I was being asked was what is my gross profit, I'd say 140,000. But remember, that is what the profit you made on the sale of the item that you're in business selling. It doesn't take into consideration any additional sales and administrative expenses, that you might have, like utility expenses and advertising expenses, payroll expenses, miscellaneous expenses. That's all goes in these expenses, and you have to subtract that from from your gross profit in order to determine your profit or loss. Now, with that said, when you worked out this problem, yeah, you were given, and this goes back to what I was talking about, word problems, having direct information has nothing to do with the problem, and then information that has to be manipulated. Okay, let's say, for this problem here, let me see here. I'm gonna use black, and let's say you were not asked how to do net sales, and you were not asked to do cost of goods sold. Okay, let's say you were first told to figure, just calculate the gross profit from sales. Okay, so if you were given this problem and all you were asked just to figure out the gross profit from sales, okay, again, on a simplistic level, this is this formula, but notice you don't have anything over here that tells you what your cost of goods sold was. Okay, so now you actually have to manipulate some of this data. I mean, yes, directly, direct information, you have the gross sales of 170,000, but now you actually have to figure out your cost of goods sold. So you'd have to go back and do what we did in the video for, letter B here, in figuring out the cost of goods sold. You need to be able to take out, take your beginning inventory plus your purchases, less your ending inventory in order to get your cost of goods sold, in order to be able to plug that number into that formula, which is that $21,000 there. Okay, so yeah, if you were, let's see, that's 21 right there, and that was 161. So yes, when you first started doing this test problem, okay, and you were working one, you did A and then you did B, you were able to use that information from B in order to arrive at the answer for C. But if you weren't asked to do that previously, this here formula of sales less cost of goods sold, ends up being a little bit more complicated, because you'd have to do all of this first in order to arrive at that to be able to figure out your gross profit. Okay? All right, so that's C, and I hope you understood that. And let's see here. Okay, yeah, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to pause here, make this one short, and then do D in the next video. Okay?